Today is a really big day. It's been such an extraordinary few months, the last 7 months. I mean, 7 months ago, you forget, in the UK we had Theresa May. There was a real possibility that despite the vote in the referendum, Brexit wasn't going to happen.
This is perhaps the most important decision that the British people will have to take at the ballot box in our lifetime.
And I know, because we're Great Britain, that we will rise to the challenge.
We are leaving the European Union, but we are not leaving Europe.
Let's get Brexit done and let's bring this country together.
I will miss this desk and this computer as well. I mean, you're always rushing in from the meetings and coming in here and sitting down and just looking at amendments and papers. So, yeah, and as you can see, my office is already being packed, and we've got boxes everywhere and getting papers out and things. Yeah, start the plenary. That means we must run down there now. I'll hear it once more tomorrow, and that's it. I've been here, this is my 16th year. I've never counted it. So that's pretty hard. Got it? Do you understand that British expression, that you feel really horrible, not great, that this is going to be one of the last times I'll ever be here as officially running for the plenary. Of course, it was a shock to the system. When we had the election result, as we did, it was a complete shock. To be honest, I did in between, got used to the idea that, you know, we were leaving. I really didn't think this day would actually come. I'm so sorry, but I should have done. I knew, I think I accepted this day will come from after the general election. Yeah, I knew on the night of 10 o'clock on the 12th of December, I knew that this day will happen. So I really felt pretty devastated.
So this is the 7th floor of the Tri building. This is where the Brexit Party offices are, on this floor and downstairs. As you can see, it's very kind of empty because we've all left. I think that's about the only thing. There's a little memory. Yeah, this is what I would do every day. I walk into the office, I turn my computer on, get out my book, which contains everything. For me, just as a kind of discipline, I try and keep my notes and everything just in one place in one book. And I handwrite my speeches, so they're all in there as well. Not that anybody could possibly read them because of my handwriting. The democratic will of 17.4 million British people who voted in the referendum to leave has been upheld. We've definitely done our job here. Britain has stepped to one side and is out of the European Union. That is the most extraordinary historical moment of achievement. I, and we all have, had really an incredible kind of period of time here for 7 months. It's been a really important time in our lives. It's been really engaging. It really feels like we've just lived through a small piece of quite important history. And only time is going to be able to show whether that's a good thing or a bad thing or whatever. But
het is natuurlijk ook de mindfuck van de eeuw, hè? Dat je dus als een van de laatste dingen die je doet als Britse Europarlementariër hier, is stemmen over je eigen vertrek.
I mean, this is an extraordinary day here. I mean, it's busier than it normally is in terms of media and things like that. But where we're standing now is right in the heart of the Brussels Parliament. The palace that is the European Union here goes on for, it feels like miles and miles and miles. I am happy because Brexit will be done. And I will certainly miss personally the drama of all of this. The vote today, that kind of officially means that the UK will be stepping outside the European Union. It's like the world has come to see this moment. I think it'll be a bit of an anticlimax actually, but everybody knows the vote is really a rubber stamping exercise on the project. There is no question that the Parliament is not going to do anything other than support the vote today. This vote is not about is the UK going to leave or not leave. This is just simply about how the UK leaves. Is it going to leave in an orderly way? Or is it going to leave in a disorderly way? And if by some amazing, extraordinary mistake the Parliament votes against the motion today, the UK will still leave. We'll still leave on the 1st of February in 4 or 5 days' time. But we will leave immediately without any transition. A lot of media interest. We've interestingly had stuff from Switzerland, from Holland, from all parts of the world.
Swiss television, do you mind a quick question?
Okay, yeah, no, sure. So that's what the day has been like.
Afterwards.
No, we'll do it. No, we'll do it now. It's fine. Is that okay? Yeah, why not?
Parlamento europeo in seduta plenaria a Bruxelles.
Sono assolutamente sicuro che la Brexit è un'opportunità grandissima per il Regno Unito. Ora dobbiamo pensare a come ottenere il massimo. Fra le conseguenze della Brexit c'è una rivoluzione per lo stesso Europarlamento, che oggi ha 751 deputati. Se ne andranno i 73 membri britannici, una delle deputazioni di maggiore peso.
Okay, fine. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Okay, yeah, good to see you. Cheers. I'm just going to do it. Is it all right doing it with these guys? Yeah, sorry, guys.
Working with 27 other countries, the members you get to know, I just think this is where the future is. We need to make sure the European values, I need you to speed up. You're so slow because I have to get in there. But anyhow, so I see it when you look at all the regions who are coming together. I'd be very sorry to see that, to lose that. I feel really sad, sad in a sense. I mean, I'm smiling in one way because I just think this is a surreal situation. Here we are after, I'm in my 16th year in the Parliament, and all of this will disappear for me very soon. I've had my opportunities, I've done extremely well out of them, but I would wish my constituents and the younger people to have exactly the same opportunities. The next generation is the most important.
First of all, I want to pay tribute to all those British people who contributed so much to almost half a century of British EU membership. And I think of all those who helped to build our institutions. They will always stay part of our family. We will always love you and we will never be far. Long live Europe.
The vote that was in the referendum in 2016 has finally been agreed. This means that this vote absolutely confirms, not that it was ever in any doubt at all, that Brexit has definitely happened. As of the 31st of January, the UK will leave the EU. So it's an extraordinary moment. It's a really historical moment, actually. Never happened before. Absolutely amazing. 49 voted against. Of the 49, I think a lot were from the UK, actually. Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats and things like that, who gave a whole series of speeches. Actually, I don't even think they understood what they were voting for.
Everybody's job always comes to an end. Mine's coming to an end in a particularly unusual way, with much wider significance than the fact that I'm losing my job.
It feels like, and you know, the extraordinary atmosphere here, which is like really electric, is I think people feel like they've lived through a real moment in history. It's never happened before. The UK is the first country ever to leave this rather unique club, as somebody called it in the debate. We're really proud of our flag, and as are all other countries, and so we absolutely wave them anyway. Everybody said a year ago it couldn't be done, and you know what? Today, 10 minutes ago, finally it's happened. Well, we're definitely going to go and celebrate with a few beers, so we're going to do that first.
I never imagined when I came here in '99 that 20 years later we would be leaving as a country. I'm happy with my achievements, that I've worked on lots and lots of legislation.
It is simply awful that companies are withholding 100 billion. Meanwhile, China is focusing negotiations with Central and Eastern European countries. This House has shown extraordinary patience.
One of the most heart-wrenching things just now was being given this certificate, and it was really emotional to be given this, because you only get this when you're out, and that means that you were a member of the Parliament and you no longer are. This was really, it kind of made me very choked up when I got it, because you really know that is it, you're out. When I first arrived here, you know, it was like this was the future. So I believe that the future, in terms of really making a difference to my region, was in Europe, and that we could do more working together to tackle many of the underlying issues in the West-Midlands than we could do alone. I think, of course, I'm very proud of having had my time here as a European Member of Parliament. I will display it. I'm not going to hide it. It is an important part of my life, from 1999 to 2009, then from 2014 to now. Historical, you could say. It's historical even, you know.
No, so last night after the vote, we had some press stuff to do. There was lots and lots and lots of media and interest yesterday. And then we all met for dinner with some friends, some family, and in a restaurant just around the corner from here, and we had a really nice evening. There were a few speeches, everybody had a kind of a drink, but not too much. And we were all back here for 9 o'clock for, you know, the next plenary session. It's been such an extraordinary few months, the last 7 months. I mean, 7 months ago, you forget, in the UK we had Theresa May. There was a real possibility that despite the vote in the referendum, Brexit wasn't going to happen. And so the change over such a short period of time has been really intense. That final absolute confirmation that Brexit is going to happen tomorrow night, I think it all kind of left us a bit, you know, speechless really. You know, you spend all day inside and in the building. It's actually quite nice to have a walk and get a few moments of fresh air. So it's fine. When we were elected, we absolutely promised our voters that we would get involved and support, and we have a duty to do that, and we fulfilled that. I just think that's the kind of knockabout. I think people who are the MEPs from the Labour group and from the Liberal Democrats, as we've heard from speeches yesterday and today, are really very, very emotional about the fact that they're going. And it's made them say a lot of things which I think when they kind of look back or look at the evidence will not stand up.
This one is just on the, issues around Indigenous people. Indigenous people are often marginalised and they get the worst access to services. You know, Parliament tries to raise concerns so that they should have a greater, in fact, this is the start of my debate, so I may have to go down because that's Commissioner Darley just talking about Indigenous people, so I may have to wrap up. You've got 13 minutes. Sorry, I'm going to have to go. Okay. Give me 2 versions of that. Yes, please. Thank you. Do you guys want to go down to the... Yeah, we'll go down to 0. And I'll see you there once I've done. Okay. All right? I'll keep texting you your speaking. Okay. All right, bye.
Czas wystąpienia 1 minuta. Neena Gill.
President, systematic and institutional discrimination against Indigenous people is alive and well, and is not confined to one continent or one field.
I've already packed and left. I think the only thing I've kept is, very helpfully, clean shirt for tomorrow. And we had lots of cardboard boxes, which were generously given to us by the European Union to pack our stuff, but I've done all of that. We're a small group. You know, there are 25 Brexit Party MPs. We've been a really close band of brothers and sisters. And so part of us is quite sad because we know that from Monday, we're going to start to go in slightly different ways. You know, we won't have this to bring ourselves together, and we're quite sad about that. So I'm really thinking hard about what I'm going to do now. I will need to find a job. I have a wife, I have 4 children, I have a mortgage and all those sorts of things. And so I need to find some money and things like that. I think the people who have felt our leaving harder than anybody else are my fellow colleagues, Labour and Liberal Democrat MEPs. But I think they're missing the point. They're still trying to fight the battle of the referendum and the general election that's gone past. They've got some really big challenges. They've relied so much in the UK on the representation of their MEPs here. Well, as I look out of the window, actually, this is a very unscenic view of Brussels. Brussels is actually rather a lovely city, as is Strasbourg. But as I look out of the window, what I see is another faceless office block full of civil servants, people doing process, doing the system and things like that. And it reminds me of what it must have been like to have been in Soviet Russia, where the 5-year plan, the process, was kind of more important than the outcome. How many tractors were built and do they work? And there have been times when I've been here where it feels to me that the process and the petty, systematic bureaucracy is much more important than actually making the lives of European citizens better.
We're finally leaving! It's happened!
Everybody back.
Everybody after
Everybody back.
Brexit!
Everybody!
Today we celebrate the beginning of our independence.
Well, it's really quite an emotional moment, actually, and really pleased to be going, but actually really quite sad as well, and so many friends here in Europe and all that kind of stuff. So we're leaving this building, the European Union here in Brussels, but we're actually going to stay the best of friends with Europe. Thank you.
Hello, I'm journalist.
Hello.
I'm from Finnish newspaper Helsingin Sanomat. I'm just taking my...
Okay, that's okay. Hey, it's so much easier.
Anyone else?
We're not coming back.
The flag now goes back to London.
Bye-bye, sir! Bye-bye!
Good British weather. It's nearly raining, but not quite. One never gets used to all the attention. No, it's extraordinary actually. And again, for those of us who don't come from this background, where this is new. So we're all off to the railway station. We're all going to get the Eurostar, and we're all going back to London. There's a really big party this evening near the House of Commons, the Palace of Westminster. So we'll all be that, and there'll be lots of other people as well. So, yeah, yes, okay.
I mean, I've really enjoyed my time being here. I've met lots of really interesting and smart people. Friday night, the UK will be outside. We love Europe and European nations, but we definitely need to leave.
I should say au revoir, because we hope one day we will come back. But it's been wonderful being here. So goodbye, EU 27. But we will be there in spirit with you all.
Bye.